Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. We were looking at recursive functions, and in this video we are going to see about the Fibonacci series. Talking about Fibonacci series, the series which is written on your screen is known as Fibonacci series, right? So it is a sequence of numbers. But one thing we need to understand that in such type of series, mathematically we have to find out a certain pattern so that we can make a program of it, right? So in Fibonacci series, there is also a pattern that exists. So clearly visualize that the first two terms of your list is 0 and 1, right? So the starting two digits or the starting two elements of your series will be 0 and 1, right? After that, the third term is 1 again. So now from where that this particular third term came from? So it is the summation of two previous numbers, that is one before it and another again. Let me just grab a pen and explain this to you. Now from where this third term came from? Now this is the summation of 0 and 1. That is a sum of the two previous number. So here we got the third number as 1. Now talking about the fourth term, from where this term came. So this is the summation of two previous term, that is 1 plus 1, that is 2. Now the next term 3, that is this came from 1 plus 2, which is 3. Now 5 is 2 plus 3, 5. 3 plus 5, 8, and so on. So that is nothing but the Fibonacci series. And in order to make a program of Fibonacci series, we can make use of different techniques that are present in programming. So we are going to actually visualize Fibonacci series in the both cases. First, I will be making a program of Fibonacci series using iterations, that is the loop. And the next thing is with the help of recursion. And that recursive example of Fibonacci series is very popular. So now I am on my Python screen and I have just mentioned over here a Fibonacci series. One thing is to be noted over here is that I have taken 0 in a bracket because some people argue that Fibonacci series starts from 1. That is, they say that the first two terms are 1 and 1. But few argue that the first two terms is 0 and 1. So here we will be considering 0 and 1 as the first two terms of our Fibonacci series. So first of all, what I will be making is the iterative version of the Fibonacci series, right? So in order to make the program, I will be defining a function with the name fib, and here I will be giving an argument which is n. Now this n is going to tell that up till how many digits I want to print the Fibonacci series. For example, if n is equals to 1, then 0 should be printed. That means one term of the Fibonacci series. If the value of n is 2, then 0 and 1 should be printed. If the value is 3, then 0, 1, 1 should be printed, and so on. So it is how many numbers you want to print from your Fibonacci series, right? Now, you know that the first two terms of your Fibonacci series is fixed, right? So let me just make a variable equal to 0 and b equal to 1. So I have defined the two variables as 0 and 1. Now, what we want to do over here is we want to print the Fibonacci series. Now, what is the trivial case? How many numbers you can want to print from a Fibonacci series? Maybe you want to print one number, right? So if n is equal to 1, at that point of time, I will be printing a. So if I run this particular function, let me just call this function fib with the argument as 1. So if I run this particular code, you can see on your screen that 0 is printed. Now this is nothing but the first term of your Fibonacci series. Now the next situation is else if n is not equal to 1, right? At that point of time, what you want to do? You have to print the first two digits. Of course, you want to print the first two digits. So print A and print B. Very fine. Let me just run this for something which is not equal to 1, let's say 2, because till now I have given only A and B, so this is the two terms. So let me just run the code again, and you can see 0 and 1 is printed on your screen. Now this is, we have taken care of the two digits, but this else portion is when n is greater than 1. So it will be 2, 3, 4, 5, anything, right? So in that case, what we are going to do is we need to print a certain range, right? So here for the range, I will be making use of for loop for I in range, and in the brackets, see, remember I have taken 0 and 1 already through the print statement, right? Print A and print B. So second 0th term, or the first term and the second term of my digit, of my Fibonacci series has been now printed, A and B. Now this for loop should start from the third element of my Fibonacci series, because you can see that this particular print statement is going to print 0, which is the first element, and this is going to print 1, which is the second element, right? So if n is 2, then it is fine. Otherwise, the for loop should start from 3, that is the third element, and it should go till n plus 1, because we know that n is not included, so n plus 1, right? And here, so what we need to do over here is we need to make the summation of A plus B, right? The third term of your Fibonacci series is, this is your A, this is your B. So the third term of your Fibonacci series is 1, which is nothing but 0 plus 1. So we have done this A plus B. But we need to understand that if the value of n is equal to 4, that is, I want to print series up till here. So this fourth term will come by adding the previous two. That means I have to shift by 1 each time, right? For this value, I need these two values. For this, I need this. So we have shifted from 0 till here. In order to print 3, I need these two values. So I have shifted from here to here. So I need to swap the values, right? So for that, I will be writing, and B should be equal to C. And what we need to do over here is we need to print the summation, which is nothing but C. So that is the main concept of Fibonacci series. Now let me make it a proper program. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take num as an input and ask user to enter how many digits you want to print in this series. So how many digits you want to print, right? Like this. And in place of 2, make it a general program by passing num. So if I run the code, then you can see, enter the number of digits you want to print. Let's say I want first 5 digits of my Fibonacci series. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So first 5 series is now been printed on your screen. Let me run this code again. And how many digits you want? I want the first 10 digits of the Fibonacci series to get printed. And here is the answer on your screen. So it starts from 0 till 34. So that was the iterative version of Fibonacci series, which is a simple function that is going to print Fibonacci series. Now, let me just comment this particular code and explain you about the recursive version of Fibonacci series, and which is very important, right? So now we are going to program the recursive function. So recursion is a function that calls itself again and again, right? So again, I will be defining a function with the name fib, and I will be taking n as the argument over here. And you know that if here there is a difference between n, right? Here n signifies the nth digit of the Fibonacci series, and the indexing will start from 0. So let me just complete the code and then you will be understanding. Return if n is equal to 0. If you want to print the 0th number, that is return 0. And there should be an indentation over here, right? L, because we need the first two numbers, right? And if n is equal to 1, that means the 1th number, then return 1. So I just wanted to tell that here I have indexed the number as zeros and 1. So the first number is at index 0, the second number is at index 1, the third number is at index 2, and so on, right? So indexing, you can actually make it anyway. That doesn't make any changes in your program. Else, now if it is not 0, if it is not 1, then else it should be greater than something, right? Negative case you can also consider as an error, right? So here what I'm going to do is I will be recursively calling the function fib on two numbers, that is n minus 1 and plus fib n minus 2. Now what does this signifies? Now this signifies this thing. See, if I want to calculate the sum of this particular, this is my 0th number. Let me just write the index over here. Now this is my 0th number, this is my first number, this is second, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth, and so on, right? So if I want to calculate the second number, right? So this one is came from Fibonacci series for n minus 1. N minus 1, what is n? 2, right? So Fibonacci series on n minus 1, that is 1, plus Fibonacci series on n, which is n is 2, n minus 2, which is 0, right? And here we know that if n is equals to 0, return 0 and return 1. So this is going to return 1, this is going to return 0, and the summation is going to be 1 over here, right? Now let us change. Let us call fib for 2. Fib for 3, that I want answer to be 2, right? So I want to call fib on this 2, right? So on this 3 digit, so n is equals to 3 this time. So if n is equals to 3, then you will be calling fib on n minus 1, which is 2, and n minus 2, which is 1. So 3 minus 2 is 1, right? Now we know that Fibonacci series on 1 is going to return nothing but 1, right? That we know. Talking about Fibonacci series on 2, we have seen that this is a recursive function. This is again going to call 1 and 0, and the answer will be 1. So 1 plus 1 will be 2, and 2 will be returned over here. Similarly for 3, the same procedure goes on and on, right? So that is how we got our answers in this Fibonacci series. So now let me just call this as f, and let me just call fib for, let's say, 3. The answer should be 2 this time. So let me just print f and verify that the answer should be 2. So let me just run the code, and you can see it is 2. Talking about the fifth digit is nothing but 5. Yes, talking about the sixth digit of your Fibonacci series is 8, and then 7 is 13, and so on. Now what if I want to print the whole series? So for I in range, it will start from 0, and let's say I want to print the first 10 numbers, so let it be 11, and what I'm going to do is I will be printing Fibonacci function on I. So let me just clear the screen, and run the code, so you can see that the first 10 Fibonacci series number is been now printed on your screen. So that was the recursive version of Fibonacci series along with the iterative version of it. I hope that you understood the concept of Fibonacci series both in the iteration and the recursive manner. If you like the video, then don't forget to subscribe my channel and share it too. Thanks for watching.